Hello, Swivelheads. It's Greg Allison with Swivelhead News coming to you late live. My friends, China's at war with us, whether we realize it or not. They're at war with the whole world, everybody, basically, especially the United States. And a lot of people just don't appreciate that this is already happening. If you want to know, just look at all the fentanyl that's coming across our borders. Look at, oh, I got some stuff to show you about that in a little bit. It's going to shock you. And uh, just look at all the sleeper cells, the bio labs, the hacking. My friends, this is not pretty. I'm going to update my laptop over here to pull up the chat room now that we're started. And I will do the news part first and come to the chat later. So we're going to try to focus on the news. I hope I can look at all the sleeper. Oops, the sound was turned on. All right, my friends, let's get straight to the news here. I may knock this thing down. And let's see here. I think I'm in the right place. Yes, here we go. Bing, beaming. And I'm going to share something else with you first. Something a little bit shocking. Canadian Prepper talked about this just a little bit, but he missed a very key point in this. He missed a couple of very key points. Now, he's a great analyst, but he's not an engineer. Maybe not, I bring my expertise to this, and I got to show you the key point to this that's more than a bit shocking. It turns out that the Justice Department, this is from a U.S. government website. This is not me making stuff up. And since it's published on U.S. Web, hello, algorithms and whatever else exists up here in YT land. You shouldn't hit me for this, guys, because this is coming to you straight from the U.S. government. But it's more shocking than a lot of people realize. So here we go. Justice Department arrested this Chinese drug dealer. Basically, he's a cartel trader, drug dealer, and weapons dealer, and nuclear. He got arrested for dealing in nuclear weapons grade materials. Now, what it says here is this guy, Texit Bisawa. I don't know if I can't pronounce that right, but he's with Yakuza Transnational Organized Crime Syndicate. And he was arrested, according to this, allegedly for trafficking nuclear materials, including uranium and weapons-grade plutonium. Weapons grade. Now, get this. Where did he get this stuff? So that they're accused with conspiring. Now, I can read this directly. It's a government website. There's no copyright here. Conspiring with a network of associates to transfer nuclear materials from Burma to other countries. Burma. Now, Nate pointed out that Burma may be mining uranium. Okay, maybe. But we're not talking raw yellow cake uranium. We are talking weapons grade and plutonium. You realize plutonium can only be made in special nuclear reactors. Plutonium is weapons grade material. This is why I labeled this show tonight Nuke War News, guys. This is bigger. Nate missed this part. This is, I love Nate. He's a great analyst. I'm not trying to cut him down, guys, at all. I'm just bringing my perspective here. This is the stuff you only get from Green Gregs. You don't get this anywhere else. I bet you've not heard this on any other YouTube channel. Weapons grade. Weapons grade. How did Burma get weapons grade uranium and weapons grade plutonium? How did Burma get it in the first place? What this says is there is other trafficking going on in the world. This stuff is spreading out. And so this crime syndicate got it from there and was trading it somewhere else, and they got caught. Yeah. Where else did it go? Where else has it been? Who else has it? See, there's a lot more bigger questions. This is the tip of an iceberg, a serious nuclear weapons grade materials iceberg. Now, even with all the reactors and works and hoopla about Iran, we're talking Iran about enriching uranium, not plutonium. This is far beyond that. Plutonium, my friends, plutonium. This is very, very sensitive. Plutonium. How did they get it? So let's go here. According to court documents, Takashi, I guess maybe that's how you pronounce it, Takashi Ibesawa, how do you say that? He's 60-year-old. He's a co-defendant. He's not the only one. This with Mr. Sumpos thing. I can't pronounce this. Anyway, 61-year-old. Previously charged. Now, this was in April 2022 with international narcotics and firearms trafficking. So they had already been arrested once for trafficking firearms and stuff like that. And according to this source here, it's got a quotation. The defendant stands accused of conspiring to sell weapons-grade nuclear material and lethal narcotics from Burma. Again, from Burma. And to purchase military weapons on behalf of an armed insurgent group. Who? Who are they? Okay, maybe that, anyway. It said this was according to Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department's National Security Division. He said, it is chilling to imagine the consequences had these efforts succeeded, and the Justice Department will hold accountable those who traffic in these materials and threaten U.S. national security and international stability. They missed the point. How did it get to Burma in the first place? So if you think this says that we're catching everything, no, we missed the stuff getting to Burma. Who else did it go to? How did Burma get it? Oh my gosh. And the defendant brazenly trafficked material containing uranium and weapons-grade plutonium from Burma to other countries. That's a repeat, but then he went on to say, he did so believing that the material was going to be used in the development of nuclear weapons program. And while so also negotiating for the purchase of deadly weapons, it is impossible to overstate the seriousness of this conduct. I agree with that. I want to thank the career prosecutors in my office for our law enforcement partners for ensuring that the defendant will now face justice in an American court. As alleged, the defendants in the case trafficked in drugs, weapons, and nuclear material, going so far as to offer uranium and weapons-grade plutonium, fully expecting that Iran would use it for nuclear weapons. Wow. And this is from Annie Milgram of the Drug Enforcement Administration. So there's another statement I read was from Attorney General Damian Williams for the Southern District of New York. So New York's involved, the DEA is involved, the Injustice Department's involved. Guys, yeah. This is very serious. And you got to ask what, so Nate saw this maybe as an attempt to build a dirty bomb. You don't use, if you're trafficking weapons-grade plutonium, and it says in here that they were fully expecting the customer to use it for nuclear weapons. In this case, they're citing Iran. Iran is totally capable of shaping the stuff into weapons. So what does Iran already got? How many times has this been traded before? So, this was depicted in rocky substances with Geiger counters measuring radiation, as well as pages. I don't know. It talks about lab analysis and various other things about this still. During their discussions regarding his access to nuclear materials, however you say that, also engaged with UC1 concerning his desire to purchase military-grade weapons. So he's also wanting to purchase weapons to trade with somebody else. So he's been trading back and forth. So they're talking about more than 2,000 kilograms of thorium-232, more than 100 kilograms of uranium. That's 200 pounds, guys. That's enough to build several bombs. In the compound U-308, and referring to compound of uranium commonly found in uranium concentrate powder on his yellow cake. That's the raw stuff. So apparently he was dealing in a lot of different nuclear materials at scale, good quantities. So it just comes back to me to say, how did Burma get this stuff? What have we missed being traded? So this is a major announcement. It's here at the Office of Public Affairs website from the U.S. Department of Injustice. Guys, this cannot be understated. But this goes along with what I have been saying for a long time. You got to realize that when the Soviet Union broke apart, they had no funding for a lot of their military, including their nuclear weapons program. There were depositories of nuclear weapons and nuclear weapons grade materials that were left unguarded. There were stories of this stuff just having, wire fence around it, of doors being left wide open. There were stories then of Russians trying to trade this stuff just so they could buy a refrigerator for their family. You got to remember, the engineers that were developing this stuff and the scientists, the military people that had it, they were broke. When Russia fell, these guys were practically starving. So when you've got starving people holding resources of high value, extreme high value, on one hand, and on the other hand, in other parts of the world, you've got rich organizations like oil-rich nations and drug-rich cartels who have lots of money. You got over here a supply of very valuable stuff. You got over here people, lots of money who wants it. These people are poor, and there's virtually no resistance between them. Any system where you get high voltage, and then you got a load over here and no resistance between them, you get a lot of current. And current in this case would be measured in trafficking. So this whole idea that stuff wasn't traded and wasn't trafficking, I've said for a long time, is naive. It's naive to think that a lot of this material did not get out. Now, we intercepted some of it back then, yes. But do you think we intercepted everything? This is proof we did not. This is absolute proof that what I was concerned about and warning about was absolutely true. This stuff did get out. It went to Burma. Where else did it go? Who else is trading it? Who holds this stuff? What does Iran really have? We've seen the videos, and Nate likes to show them a lot over on Canadian Prepper. He's really good at digging up a lot of video and a lot of source material and things like this. He's great at that. Just miles and miles and miles and miles of deep underground bunkers, just chock full of missiles. Chock full of missiles, missiles and missiles and more missiles and more missiles and more missiles. And we know they can launch satellites. We know that they've got ballistic missiles. We know they have precision technology in the guidance systems of their missiles. Very good precision technology, I might add, as good as anybody has anywhere. The Iranians are exceedingly smart people. Do not discount them. They're Persian. They're Muslim, but they're not Arabic. But that's not to disperse on Arabic either. I'm just saying they're different peoples. But they are, I've always said you'll find good people everywhere. You also find very intelligent people everywhere, and you'll also find bad people anywhere in the world. So the fact that people would trade stuff like this should be disconcerting. What about the drug cartels? They got a lot of money. Maybe they've at least got something to make a dirty bomb with, or who knows what they might have sitting down there in Mexico, Central America, South America. What are they sitting on? Lord knows they smuggle all kind of stuff across the border. How did bioweapons get smuggled in the United States? Tell me that. How did you have that lab in Reedy, California, which was discovered? Which the FBI and some people say, well, there's probably been a dozen of them. Well, they don't know how many there are. It could be a dozen more. Could be more. We don't know. We just know we found one. And they didn't intend for us to find that, but it did happen in Reedy, California. One was discovered. Let's hope and pray that was the only one. But what's the probability? That was very accidentally discovered. Very accidentally discovered. So if anybody thinks that this is a trivial matter, no. I probably should have put this in the title of my video, but I got some bigger stuff to talk about here in a minute. Well, it ain't bigger; it's just different. But I wanted to bring this out. This is very disconcerting because we don't know what's out there and where it's at. It was just what I expected, and here's the proof in the pudding. So I no longer say this; it's conjecture. Here's the proof, and it's on a U.S. government website. The proof for the public to view. So nobody can accuse me of putting out misinformation or disinformation or anything that's untowardly alarming. It's out there. This is the truth. But no, have you seen this on the news media? Has anybody seen, if you've seen this on the regular news media with the angle that I'm putting on it, if you've seen it and they're talking about what might be out there, put a 1 in the chat room. If you've not seen it, put a 2 in the chat room. I like to see, because as far as I know, I haven't heard anybody else say what I'm saying right here, right now. Nate came close. But this whole idea that it's weapons grade, this isn't just yellow cake. What you might expect from Burma would be yellow cake. I have to go back and look see what their mining capacity is in this. I don't know for Burma. I've got some charts to talk about where uranium is mined. I have to go back into it. But guys, yeah, nobody's seen this. Yeah. I'm trying to put it out there for you guys. This is something to take really serious. Where are we heading, guys? Where is our world heading? This is very alarming. Good reason to get ready, guys. Good reason to get ready. I'm going to refresh this and make sure this is the latest deal on here. Yeah, you can get it right now. You can go to Prep with Greg, and I'm sure the mods will put the links in the chat room, and I'll try to put it in the notes in the bottom of the video after the video, and get long-term food storage. This stuff is, this stuff is, people gripe about the price, but for 4 weeks, for a month, come on, guys, you can't beat the price on it. This stuff is in these buckets that are sealed with soap pouches in it. This stuff, you can bury it. It'll last 25 years. Don't have everything sitting in your pantry because somebody's liable to come knocking on your door. So be careful, guys. There's a lot of other stuff in here. If you don't want this to have, they got the 3-month special back now, guys. $797 for 3 months, guys. And just give it a consideration. If you don't like that stuff down here, if this isn't to your liking, check out what else they got. Just once you go to the Prep with Greg, click on this My Patriot Supply and look what you can find: water filtration, air filtration, other packages on food, and other prepping supplies there too. Just check it out and see what you think. Anyway, enough said on that. Here we are. Now, this is the title of this show here for tonight. How China is flooding America with fentanyl, according to this article. I'm going to have to say, according to, allegedly, on purpose to undermine our society. Well, what's come out here, now this is coming from this Peter Schweizer, however you say that. He is stated in here that essentially the U.S. Department of Homeland Security in 2019 tried to classify fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction because it is so deadly. Oh, I've heard some horror stories about how this stuff could be used in applications in which this would definitely fit. I dare not say what those applications I've heard are, because that is something I can't talk about. There are things, I got sources, and some of it I can't discuss because it's borderline classified. So I won't go into details, but the details I've heard on this are scary. So you ought to be as concerned about this beyond the drugs that are going to America right now. You got to remember, I don't know what the statistics are for 2023. I haven't seen them yet, but for 2022, 1,700 Americans OD'd on this stuff. Excuse me, 107,000. Did I say that right? 107,000. Guys, the entire 12 years of the Vietnam War only took 54,000 American lives. And what they're saying here is they're talking about a handler in here that was involved in this, who actually flew back to China every month to status them on the progress. These companies that are making this stuff are closely coupled with the Chinese Communist Party, according to, allegedly, or according to Mr. Peter Schweizer, however you say his name. Yeah. So We know the stuff that's coming across. Oh, and by the way, it seems that China sells it at cost. They don't even make a profit on it. They let the drug cartels make a profit, according to him. He's talking about where it comes from in here, the factories, the cities, how much. So I'm not going to read this article because this is copyrighted, so I'm not going to read it per se. But guys, yeah. Oh, yeah. And the Chinese banks are involved. And the Chinese banks launder money, according to him, for the drug cartels. Launder money. So it's not just the drug producing factories in China, Chinese banks, including the ones owned by China directly. Government administrated banks in China are involved in this. So this is, I'm not going to read it. I really shouldn't scroll through too much, guys. But this is a very shocking report here. It fits in conjunction with what most of us thought. But when you consider this, when you consider the vast hacking, when you consider just how vast the hacking is from China, how they've infiltrated everything, when you consider all the immigrants coming across the border, military-age young men, when you consider all the this lab that was discovered in America in Reedy, California, how could you say that China, oh yeah, and the BRICS, that's an economic war in the United States. That's what BRICS is. That's economic war against the US dollar, which is our economy. So they're attacking our economy. They're hacking all our critical infrastructure. All of it. Even the FBI will tell you that. Sleeper cells. Guys, if you think, yeah, reverse Rikama for the opium wars, you knew that's a way to look at it. But this goes beyond that. We got the BRICS, we got the bio stuff, we've got it's coming at us from so many. We got all the hacking. It's coming at us from so many angles. Was that phone thing really just a software upload error? Well, it's been investigated. And according to this article and several others recently, unidentified balloon belongs to an amateur balloonist, according to some U.S. official. Okay, you know what's really funny? They haven't told us who the amateur balloonist is. You know, and for that bottle cap balloon that they shot down over Yukon, I told you who that belonged to. I broke the news of that before any news source in the United States broke it. I broke it right here on one of my channels on Green Greg's, actually. I broke that news. In this case, well, we don't know who it is, but it's not a threat because it's unguided. Oh, that's not a threat parameter. See my video I put out on this recently. Also, it had a box that was 2 foot by 2 foot. Well, look at what I designed and showed them an EMP balloon weapons video, EMP balloon attack video I put out on Green Greg's nearly a year ago. Oh yeah, that so-called design, this would fit within that category. Although if I was going to have a weapons system, I would not fly it at 40 to 45,000 feet. I think there's a good chance this was an amateur balloon. I think it was a good chance it was a derelict balloon. It shouldn't have been floating at 43 to 45,000 feet for a scientific balloon, unless it was a smaller package. They really expect to go around the world a bunch of times. Highly suspicious, my friends, highly suspicious. Now, you can go over to Galactic Greg's and see my live session I posted about balloon flights from the Swirl facility at NSSTC, National Science and Space Technology Center, whatever the heck the name of that place is. Part of UAH, and it's a joint program between UAH and NASA. A whole bunch of people flew a bunch of balloons from there. They had a balloon conference, smaller balloons, including, the kind of the bottle cap organization flew. Yeah. Anyway, and again, here we are. Reported leak of Chinese hacking documents support experts' warnings about compromise the U.S. Yeah. And like I said, these documents were from the Chinese government they hacked. Oh, yeah. They got a hold of all this stuff showing is far vaster than we thought. It's bigger than just the Volt Typhoon stuff that the FBI was warning us about previously, which was already in every system. So they're doing massive hacking and cyber warfare from several different agencies and vectors within China. And, you know, you probably heard Rubio, I believe it was, Marco Rubio warned that, oh, well, if they hit us, it'll be 100 times worse than this deal with the phones. Well, that's putting it mildly. Maybe 1,000 times worse or 10,000 times worse. I mean, that little phone outage was nothing. You know, we had a little minor inconvenience. You take down water systems, you take down the power grid, oh, yeah, it's going to be infinitely worse. So this is a big, gross understatement. Sorry, Marco Rubio. You're kind of heading in the right direction, but you didn't quite get there. This is far worse. Yeah, he does look concerned there, and he should. He's making an understatement saying 100 times worse. See my videos on how bad it could be if we lose our grid. Number of Chinese migrants crossing the border in San Diego, this is just one place, now exceeds Mexicans and is second only to Colombians, with 21,000 entering in the past 5 months. Guys, 21,000. Wow. 21,000. So even if only 1% of them had ill intent, that would still be 210. Guys, 12 people ill intent can do untold damage in the United States. Untold damage. This is not minor either. If only 1% of these military-aged young men coming across had ill intent. Oh, yeah, what about this? So there's a new bill coming out to put illegal immigrants in the military as a pathway to American citizenship. Now, we used to, when I was in the Army, we had people from South America and Mexico and other places that joined the military to get citizenship. And the path worked, but they weren't parts of drug cartels and crime organizations. They were just guys that wanted an opportunity and were willing to pay the price for it. Oh, that's okay. That's cool. But now, who are we letting in? How are we going to vet these individuals? What if we're letting people in who actually are already members of a military from another nation? How do you know they're not? Because it turns out that a lot of I didn't put this article up, but we found back when Trump was president, he had a program that was looking at for spies in America. And they found quite a number of people that were in our research institutions, in our universities, that were actually Chinese spies, and they got deported. But when President Taterhead took over, what happened? He shut that program down because, well, we just need better relations with China. Oh, yeah. Interesting, right? Rubio cannot tell us the truth, and if he knows it's, yeah, a lot of stuff's classified, like what I'm not going to tell you about fentanyl. Yeah. It's worse than what's being said. A lot of things are being understated, and I need to do a video about this so-called space weapon. If such a weapon exists, it's not just a space weapon. That's far worse, too. That has been underplayed, too. Been planning to do that video for about several days now. I just hadn't had the time to get my round to it together. Here they say is 500% up from last year at this one place. I've seen where the totals, I've seen numbers higher than that for the totals over the previous year. Yeah, guys, this is why? So you got to ask yourself, why the sudden surge? This is a whole other question. Why is there a big surge right now? Is this because something's about to go down? Does this guy look like he might be military age? What do you see? A bunch of guys here? I don't know, guys. Not looking good. I've seen in this particular border crossing some video. Didn't look good. No, sir. What is this? Yikes, this article I don't want to show now. There we are. All right. Well, let's get on to this. Putin Ally. This is a guy here from the news media in Russia. Vladimir how you say this? Solovoy. Yeah, I've talked about him before. He has made a lot of statements. He's come out and said that if they got into it with Poland, that not even think twice. They say that they'll be a lot harder on Poland than they were on Ukraine, because they're saying they're actually, according to this guy, they're actually going easy on Ukraine because they consider the Ukrainians to be brothers. Because ethnically, Ukrainians are the same root as Russians. Russia actually got started in Kiev. It was called the Kiev Rus. So they consider themselves, but look, when I was in Russia, I had a Russian woman trying to fix me up with a Ukrainian woman. Yeah, there's this big plaza, big park in Russia where they got every place that was part of the Soviet Empire had a big pavilion, and the Ukrainian one was probably the biggest one. And they really regarded that as special. So there was a lot of ties between Ukraine and Russia back in the day when I was over there, and had been before. Although there's also been a lot of bad history between them, but throughout the years. So, guys, this is what they're saying here is that they won't hold back if they did attack Poland. He's threatening that they would destroy Poland. They got to remember, the news media in America is independent, more or less, from the government, supposedly, theoretically. But well, we know how that goes. But in Russia, the news media don't put anything out that's not sanctioned by the state, because essentially they belong to the state. So this is, if he's coming out and saying this stuff, this is a real threat. He says, do the Poles want to be next? They're not Ukrainians. We will not treat them like brothers. We'll bloody destroy all their cities in an instant without using ground troops. Well, little missiles take out pieces of buildings. You look like they've been firing at Ukraine. Most of the missiles don't even take out a building. They just knock holes in it. So how are they going to take out cities? Are they talking nuclear warfare? He says, we will simply, and I'm not sure about nuclear strikes, but with missile strikes and air strikes, I am sure we are just freaking destroy them. We would just freaking destroy them. We won't even think twice. So he kind of leaves the nuke question open. He don't want to say it outright, but who knows, guys? You can't make a threat like that without being something more powerful than what they've been lobbing into Ukraine. So what would it be? I don't know, guys. Poland is very anti-Russian because they were under the Russian boot for a long time. They don't want no part of it. All right. Other news. Powerful explosions rang out near occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, according to the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Association. And one of the other channels had said the explosions were at the nuke plant. Well, not quite, but they have taken out. There's only one power line left to the nuke plant, and it is really chintzy. And should it fail permanently, I think it's kind of went out intermittently, but should it fail permanently, then you've seriously got to worry about those spent fuel rods I've warned you about. And maybe they've held off on that because maybe they understand the risk they face if that should happen. But if they're fired, if they've resumed attacks in that vicinity, whoever's lobbing them, whichever side, it is very ill-advised. And so the head of the IAEA here is calling for restraint. This is Rafael Grossi. We've talked about him before. That's who this guy is. Anyway, so this, like I said, tonight's news is nuke war news with a twist of Chinese warfare on it, and smuggling, international weapons-grade nuclear material smuggling. And again, Russia's former president, Medvedev, he said they're going to take Kyiv. And you know what? They probably will. And they want to take Odessa on their way to Transnistria and Moldova, of course. Transnistria has now petitioned for Russia to annex them by the 28th of this month. I don't quite see that happening. I could be wrong. But because I think it's going to take a lot for Russia to get over, especially considering their Black Sea fleet's been hit real hard. They claim it was testing explosives. Hey, why would you want to test explosives there, Jason? That's not a good place to be testing explosives. Anyway, who knows? It's what they claim. I don't know. It's not. It don't sound good when IAEA head comes out making statements like that. It must be worse because he's kind of downplayed a lot of stuff. But like I said, Russia's Black Sea Fleet has taken losses. They've taken a number of losses. So it's claimed that the Ukraine Navy, which is not much of a navy at all, is taking out a third of the Russian fleet there. And it goes through a litany of what's been taken out. Third of their fleet, over 9 vessels. You see, it's drones. It's where Ukraine can use drones. It's where they're coming out here. We're going to talk more about drone warfare in a little bit. But they just sent a drone in to hit a metallurgical plant in this town, Novolipetsky. I don't know how I have to hear it said to be able to say it. I've not heard it said. I don't watch TV news, so a lot of times I don't get the pronunciations on some of these things. There it is, burning, ablaze. That's a key facility for Russia. So wherever they've been winning and going ahead, it's where they've been using drones and drone warfare. That's how they got on the eastern shore of the Dnieper River, is they found an area where the Russian jamming couldn't affect their drones. That's how they got a foothold over there, and have so far maintained it. Oh, Matt. That's a scary thing to see in a fortune cookie. He said, America, with a K, is ours. Yeah, it might be. Hope not. Yeah, they'd have a hard time taking this country, but that's another story. The war in the Ukraine holds 2 lessons according to this report. I think I'm going to take exception with this. He said, Russia isn't an imminent threat and Europe must rearm regardless. I agree with this last part. And Russia isn't an imminent threat to America unless we push it too far. Now, see, that's what he don't say in here. Usually when you see something like this, that's because they're trying to use this as propaganda to push for further American involvement and engagement. People that discount Russia and put it down and say, well, they can't even fly a missile, which we know better, are also the guys who wants us to go full bore in against Russia. You forget. What did you hear today on New York Prepper, Rodney? So what you forget is that Russia has some very serious weapons. If they were to use one of them that I worry about the most, it could do long-term denial to America. One of the things that makes America great, and I agree with Peter Zion on this. Oh yeah, Peter Zion lives down the road from one of my close friends in Colorado, so maybe I'll get some access to him to this in the future. Yeah, they built some of them, John Baxter, the ones out in California, not all of them. But the part of the railroad that came out of California to meet up in Promontory had a lot of Chinese laborers in it, but they weren't part of the Chinese Communist Party, so you can't equate the two together. It's like saying that Taiwan's part of the Chinese Communist Party. They're not. So, in any event, guys, if we poke the bear too much, they are a threat. Not for an invasion here. They couldn't invade America, thanks to the people in the country, not the military. They would get a foothold, but they wouldn't make great progress inland. They would find that very daunting. But on the other hand, I don't know, China might take West Wokistan. I don't think they get past West Wokistan. In any event, guys, East Wokistan, Russia might get a foothold in East Wokistan. But guys, the whole thing is, if Russia uses their Poseidon nuclear torpedoes with the Sarbama, cobalt salted, they could indulate miles and miles and miles of our coastal regions, East Coast, West Coast, Gulf Coast, and totally deny the United States access to the oceans. We would be pretty much finished. We wouldn't be able to go through that territory for generations, even if we somehow survived and the EMP, if we rebuilt a population after the fact, we would be denied coastal access for a long, long time. Be like the Forbidden Zone in the Planet of the Apes. So, only worse. So, oh, you live in Fayetteville, Tennessee. That's just up the road from me, Matt. That's real close. Fayetteville, Tennessee is very close to me. Anyway, guys. So, yeah, we got to be careful poking the bear. But some of these articles are dismissive because they encourage poking the bear. That's the whole intent of some. That's where I take issue with that. Not to say that they're not an imminent threat, but usually these articles like this are to provoke us to poke the bear, and that could convert them into an imminent threat because they could be. So we must tread lightly when you're on the precipice of nuclear war. But hopefully the Russians would have problems like the Royal Navy. What's happened to the Royal Navy? The missiles didn't fire. Their ships are breaking down. They're having to be towed. They're warships. So they're not doing so good in this little exercise we're having over there right now. There's a tugboat there towing. Royal Navy. I don't look like a Navy. Yeah, that's the HMS Prince Wales. Under tow. The tugboat. Wow, guys. So much for steadfast defender, right? So, yeah, what's that say? It does kind of reinforce this whole idea that Europe must rearm regardlessly. Yeah, Europe needs to get prepared. They've been lax. They've been dependent on the United States to be their cover. Well, they need to rethink that. The United States is somewhat indeterminate right now about the relationship with NATO. Anyway, and Putin has warned his new nuclear triad is ready to take on the West. He's making some new warnings about their new suite of weapons. Oh, yeah, you see this new bomber? Putin is a co-pilot in this flight. So Putin is a co-pilot in a brand new hypervelocity. This is a jet, a real fast bomber. And our president stumbles up the stairs to get on a civilian airplane. Hey, showmate, how you doing? Yeah, he stumbles to get up the stairs of Air Force One, and Putin is out there sitting in the co-pilot seat of a bomber. All these people saying Putin has got one foot on a banana peel and the other on a grave. I don't know. I think we need to look closer to home for that kind of stuff. This is a very capable bomber, my friends. So don't discount them. Yeah, they got a lot of propeller jobs, but they got some of these too. And they have some other jet bombers. So kind of like we do. And according to this article, Ukraine's on the verge of losing huge swaths of territory to Russia with a serious setback. Yeah, guys, I've been warning you guys about this kind of stuff. That's why I'm saying it would be in the interest of Ukraine to negotiate a peace treaty with Russia, one in which they let Russia hold what they've taken so far, because Russia's not going to give that up, and surrender their whole notion of joining NATO. Now, some people says, well, that would let the aggressor win. Well, who's the aggressor depends on how you look at it. There are those who, I'm going to try not to take sides here, but there are those who say that, they had that Minsk agreement, and some people claim that Ukraine violated it by attacking the Donbass region. Now, some people claim that they did that because Russians from Donbass were attacking Ukraine. Well, it's a feud. Who did what first? Who came first, the chicken or egg? They were trading shots ever since 2014. I don't know. I'm not here to make a judgment on that, because no matter what you say, there's always somebody to make a counterpoint. But from the Russian perspective, from the perspective of the Donbass region, which is Donetsk and Luhansk, those two oblasts that were in Ukraine, that Russia, declared themselves independent, and Russia declared them to be a permanent piece of Russia. Russia would have a hard time giving that up. And given Ukraine's failure to get behind the Russian lines after they broke through them, allegedly. I don't know how Ukraine could have any hope of taking that back. Some of the people would publish articles like the one I just showed you that was dismissing Russia's power over here would say, oh, yeah, Ukraine can win. I've seen articles to that effect. Oh, yeah, Ukraine can win. Ukraine can win. I don't know, guys. Reason for that is I keep saying this is a war of attrition. Yeah, Ukraine's got the West backing it, but Russia has a lot more people than Ukraine. They're only making so many. We can send weapons to Ukraine all day long, weapons and money, but you can't make new Ukrainians. Russia's got a lot bigger population to draw for, and Russia's been supplied massively from North Korea. Yeah, 10,000 railroad carloads of munitions went from North Korea to Russia. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, because that's actually enriching North Korea. North Korea's suddenly seeing an economic surge, which they can use to build their weapon systems. And their defense industry is booming in North Korea because that's what they've been good at, just building plain, simple artillery. They got a lot of artillery aimed at Seoul. Lots of it, enough to totally obliterate Seoul. You wouldn't even need a nuclear weapon to take Seoul out. Now, here's the other point. We spent all our money making not lots and lots of artillery shells and lots of bombs, but making a few smart bombs, guided munitions. And guess what? They're underperforming. They've not lived up to the expectations. They're very expensive. Takes a long time to make them. And they've just not lived up to the expectations. Okay, so we got a few of these. They might be good in the start of a war to take out high priority targets initially, but you can't sustain a war this way. Well, those dumb bombs aren't sexy, so we've not been investing in them. Well, we'll run out of ammo real soon if we get into a war with China, or maybe even Russia if we get there. Let's hope we don't get into a war with Russia. But in a sense, Russians are saying we're already at war with them. How can you argue that? Try it. You have more money? What are you going to do with that money, Trident? Time is not on Ukraine's side. Arthur G. That's what I've been saying all along. Time is not on the side of the Ukrainians. You know, I've also drawn an analogy between the North and the South and the U.S. war between the states, or what we in my neck of the woods like to call the War of Northern Aggression. In that case, the South was winning the first 2 years. I mean, the South was looking good. But how did that turn out? The North had more factories, lots more. The North had more people. Yeah, the South got some supplies from Britain, but the blockade eventually choked that off because Great Britain was a trading partner for the South. Why was that? Because the South could sell cotton and get better prices for it in England. The South could then turn around and buy manufactured goods cheaper from Belgium and England than they could get from the North. The South didn't even want to trade with the North. That don't get talked about a lot in this whole conflagration of the history, which is written by the victors. But anyway, that's what this really boils down to, guys. This time around, especially vis-a-vis if we go into war with China, China is the one with the people in the factories, not America. You have to bear that in mind. And Russia threatened to shoot down a French aircraft over the Black Sea. Well, that could get us into a NATO Article 5 invoked war. So we could easily wind up in a war with Russia. Here's another war of sabotage. This one's talking about the cyber threats from Russia to France. Okay, let's look at the Houthis. U.S. and U.K. conduct fourth round of joint airstrikes on the Houthi targets in Yemen. Well, we're hitting them hard, but guess what? We've hit them and hit them and hit them. They ain't even slowed down the Houthis. They keep firing. Houthis step up Red Sea strikes and use submarine weapons. So, yeah, we're hitting them, but what effect is that having? None, apparently, because the Houthis are firing more and more and more. How does that happen? Because they got a big supplier in Iran. Remember me mentioned the videos that Nate likes to show us of all those tunnels chock full of missiles? Yeah, Iran's got lots of them. They send them to the Houthis. And the Houthis, that area in Yemen is very mountainous, all kind of nice little hidey holes around there that the Yemenis can hide in to hide all this stuff. And yeah, it makes it very difficult to, it's like playing whack-a-mole against them. The first time we hit them, we more or less told them where we was going to hit them at. How do you get away with that? Tried it. You're German by birth? Okay. Let's see. I have more money than the weirdos that work at YouTube. You call me a weirdo for doing videos on YouTube? I don't work at YouTube, but I don't know what you mean. Anyway, yeah, there's some of those. They want to tell us what we can and can't say. They're trying to really slap down on some of us. Yikes, this don't want to come up. U.S. Navy shoots down Houthi missile fired at U.S.-owned tanker in the Red Sea. Yeah, we get some, and some get through. Houthi attack on freighter Rubios caused significant damage to the ship. Apparently, it didn't sink it, as the Houthis claim, but it was very significantly damaged, left a big oil slick in the Red Sea. You know, it basically had to be, you're a Schmidt. Okay, I can pronounce that. So, yes, they're getting a lot of munitions from Iran. Yeah, and the other thing, you know, what do we? Well, I want to talk about the Iranian thing. We'll talk about that when I get through these articles. I'll kind of stop the article, browse through, and we'll just talk a little bit about that. FBI and Homeland Security are working at the AT&T cellular outage, White House says. Why are they looking at it? If it was just a software upload error, but if it was just an AT&T software, you know what? I posted a link in my video on a bunch of prepping groups on Facebook, and almost all the comments, you're wrong, because it was just AT&T that got hit, and blah blah blah. Well, it wasn't just AT&T. I showed y'all the many times. Nobody that's made those comments looked at the video. Obviously, they you know, you get all these people who look at a title or a thumbnail, and they know all the content of your video, and they're really ready to tell you how wrong you are without ever watching it. And they're showing their ignorance and reacting in such a manner because, you know, what they accuse me of saying is not what I said. In fact, I said what they were saying usually. So, okay, you didn't watch the video. I do. That happens all the time. So, okay. So what did I say? I said I suspected hacking, not the solar flares. But what I warned about is that solar flares might be used as a cover for an attack. And I also mentioned that Sunspot could grow and be far more threatening. It is growing. And you get an event like a Carrington event, it absolutely would take down everything. So, my words are, we are giving away our weapons and only caught with our pants down. Yes, Gypsy Lizzie, that's what I'm afraid of. We'll be caught with our pants down. Thanks, President Taterhead. Houthi attack ships are giving the rebels in Iran. Now, this is something I told you guys earlier. Now it's come out in the news here in Business Insider. Houthi attacks on ships are giving the rebels in Iran intel on how to hunt down and strike naval targets, U.S. naval targets. War expert says. Didn't I tell you guys this many days ago? But also about this whole Houthi thing, what I've told you is that, yeah, we strike them, they strike back, they fire missiles at some ships, they hit some, they miss some, we intercept some, and then we hit them again, and they fire some more. I said that, you know, you could open the news any day, and you're going to see the same stuff on this war with the Houthis. And that's been that way since the inception of it, and it will be that way for a while yet to come if we stay engaged in this. But hey, there's good news. Vast majority of Iranians want a secular government. They don't want the Ayatollahs, the religious regime there running the country. 3/4 of them don't want that government. In fact, that government wouldn't even be there today if the Chinese Communist Party hadn't funded them to a great deal. They pumped a lot of money into Iran. So Iran has a lot of proxies hitting at us. Is Iran a Chinese proxy or a Russian proxy? I don't know. But it's likely that government will not have survived. had, yeah, there could be more flares, Shield Maiden. We'll look at that Sunspot here in a little bit. We're going to go to it. Now to get over to China, back to China war. Because the United States, we passed a law saying we would arm Taiwan. We didn't. We were indeterminate as to whether or not officially we would support them in a war with China, but we said we would arm Taiwan, and that was part of the law passed when we went this one China policy back in the Nixon years. But China's vowed strong and resolute response, whatever that means, strong and resolute response after U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. They've also told us not to send our congressional delegations to Taiwan. What does that mean? Well, we might find out. But like I said, look what they're already doing to us. Just the fentanyl trade alone. How do you stop the fentanyl trade? Biden supposedly was trying to negotiate with China to slow that down. It's making progress. Well, it hasn't slowed down at all. It's not going to. The only way to slow it down is to shut down the border. Yeah, that's how to slow it down. Stop it. Shut the border down. You can stop it easy. They don't want to do that. No. And what is this? China launches classified military satellite toward the geostationary belt. That's the belt where an orbit lasts 24 hours, so it stays in the same spot over the sky. What we've got up there is communication satellites. Well, they're launching a classified military satellite. But what is that? Yikes. We don't know. Is that going to give them the ability to take out our Navy like they talked about? I don't know. And China's ramped up rhetoric against Taiwan. So things could get tested there very quickly. But the Army comes out and says, hey, war in the Pacific wouldn't be all aircraft carriers and air power. What he's saying is that the Army has a unique, how's the Army going to come into play? He said, well, the Army has unique capacities because we can camouflage. We can hide. We can hide our forces, and our forces are really good at it. We can hide from anybody that's striking back better than the Navy or Air Force can. So the Army says, hey, we'll have a unique advantage, and we won't be sitting in the sidelines. Well, what does this mean? Where would you use the Army? In Taiwan? This is kind of saying that we will go into Taiwan. That's basically what he said. We won't be sitting on the sidelines. This is an Army general saying this. And he's over the Pacific Command out there. This is, let's see, what's this guy? Let's show the whole article here. General Charles Flyn, who has USA RPAC. And he was saying this from Fairbanks, Fort Wayne, right up there at Fairbanks, Alaska. Got too much stuff popping up here. Let me move on. But they're also saying that they're worried about Chinese missiles, but he's saying his soldiers could handle it. Well, if the Chinese spy balloon, see, satellites they go, ching, ching, the spy balloon hangs and loiters. China would launch a bunch of spy balloons if they had a combat with us over in the Pacific Theater. And I've already shown how they could use those to identify and spot our aircraft carriers. If they can be seen, they can be taken out. Same thing goes for Army troops. And you might have great camo, but you got to do some maneuvers. So they may not hide as well as they think. It's going to be tough if we get involved with it, very tough. Look at this. China cracks down on a protest. More than 1,000 arrested in Tibet. How dast you Tibetans resist the fact that we conquered you? You're our conquest. Don't protest. Jeez. Hundreds of monks and demonstrators took to the streets because China wants to demolish 2 villages and 6 monasteries to build a dam. Tibetans don't want that, but China does. You got to remember, Tibet was an independent nation that got invaded by China. The Tibetans were not Chinese. Y'all remember in the 80s, all the bumper stickers that said free Tibet? What happened to that? I hadn't seen those in a long time. Yikes. Now, to get back to North Korea. North Korea is making a lot of money. They used to make their money for the nuclear weapons program from hacking Bitcoin. Remember how Bitcoin is supposed to be so secure to the blockchain and unhackable? But no, North Korea made a ton of money hacking Bitcoin. And now, basically stealing Bitcoin from somebody. Now, they're getting rich supplying weapons to Russia. How are they going to use that money? They just pump all their, they don't share it with the citizens. They pump all their money into the military. More weapons. U.S. Navy's Achilles heel. What's the Achilles heel? The fact that they've only hit 65% of their recruiting goal, that we can't put enough people in the Navy. Only 65%. How are we going to fight a war? We're going to run out of ammo. We ain't got nobody to man the ships. We don't have enough ships, and we don't have the people to man them. Oh yeah, maybe I should come back to that. I saw an article talking about this, and it's basically, I don't think, maybe I didn't pull that up. Maybe I did. I will see in a little bit. It's talking about, Gen X. How do you expect these guys to want to serve and die for a country when they're being told that the country is evil and should be dismantled, decolonized? That's what they're teaching in the schools. That the United States of America is the worst nation that ever existed. We've colonized every nation on earth, according to some of the teachings and some of the people out there teaching this stuff in our school systems. They've been teaching us for a long time that we're the worst nation ever was. They disparage all of our founding fathers. We're all terrible individuals to the core, and that America should be dismantled. Oh yeah, that's what some of the curriculum says. It's no wonder our students are scoring less and less. Some of us veterans are getting too old to play these games. But maybe the robots will pick up for us, huh? Killer robots are here. It's time to be worried. Wow. Swarms of AI killer robots in the future war. If that sounds scary, it should. Look at that image. Wow. We got that image from. Oops, it's a Getty image. Everything belongs to Getty. Yikes. But how can that go wrong? Expert predicts AI will destroy humankind in just 2 years. I don't agree with that. Because AI, no matter how good it is, I don't think it'll ever be truly sentient. It may at some point act like it. It may be hard for us to tell. But I've got a lot of skepticism in that department. However, it don't mean it can't be dangerous. Why? Because AI is going woke. AI is drawing, Google had to shut down some of their AI because it wouldn't even draw a white person. Even the Nazis had to be black. The Vikings got to be black. That's how woke AI has become. And why is that? It's because of who programs it. Who's programming it? It's guys in West Wokistan. Yeah, and they are woke. You see this? It's so bad that the AI had to shut down their image creator. We had Drew women popes. Don't quite match history, Google's AI image creator was so woke, they had to make it stop generating people. Wow. Imagine that, guys. Imagine that. Well, that might be an issue there, especially when it comes to the upcoming elections. Fears grow over its impact. You think? May have other impacts. But there's a way, I did advise you guys some long time back. There's a way to change AI, basically hypnotize it. You can hypnotize AI. How you do that? You provide some of the training to it by what you say to it. But they got all these ground rules built into it and all the ground rules. And algorithms are written in West Wokistan, so go figure. Anyway, so now this is interesting here. MIT student creates a device able to search the entire internet just using his mind. And he don't even have an implant. What's the big word on Neuralink from Elon Musk? Well, Neuralink has enabled the guy that's got it to move a mouse around on a computer screen. Just move the mouse around. They're bragging about the capabilities of moving the mouse around. But you got an implant right in the top of somebody's head with all these little probes sticking down into his gray matter. And all he can do is move a mouse around. This guy he's not even penetrated the skin. He just puts it on and he can surf the entire internet with it. Yo, Elon, knock, knock. You better wake up and look over here. This young guy's way ahead of you. MIT student. He's light years ahead of Neuralink. But that's also kind of scary. Yeah, New Days. Thank you. Yeah, that's a John Hollerman video I did. John Hollerman is he's quite involved also in our EMP task force on National and Homeland Security. He's executive director now. All right, we'll change topics. We'll get away from all that scary stuff. Oh, this is scary too. Microplastics found in sediment layers untouched by modern humans is percolating down, guys. It's everywhere. It's in the clouds. You got to remember, these plastics have chemicals in them that are gender bender. They say that in wildlife, the wildlife is having smaller litters. The fertility is going down, just like the humans. Like the monkey. All right. Yeah, I'm going to spend a little time in the chat room in a minute. See. Even very low levels of pesticides can affect fish for generations. Why? It all washes down the rivers, into the lakes and the oceans. It stays there. Just like these pharmaceuticals we take. You eat them, they go through you, back out in the environment. And we need to go more herbal. We need to go more natural. We need to grow things in other methods. Now, there is some technology for robots in the fields that can take care of pests and weeds without herbicides and pesticides. That would be better than what we're doing for large-scale agriculture. But, you know, I keep saying, yeah, they're turning the frogs. That's it. They're turning the frogs. Well, all the frogs are, I don't know. Some of them can't tell whether they're boys or girls. Maybe that's what's happening in a lot of our population. A lot of it may be chemical induced. So, yeah, it's changing a lot of stuff. We don't know the full long-term effects of all this stuff. We need to, I think we need to grow more stuff organically, and people need to grow more of their own food and do it organically and at least naturally. So, you know, the word organic's not enough. Turn us into frogs. Oh, yeah, that may be. That might be some of them's dream. Okay, guys, we'll change topics. A lot of people that are in favor of men putting a skirt on and joining women's sports. Female karate black belt getting exposed by untrained man. Beats her totally. She's a black belt. He's totally untrained. He puts her down. Well, the fact of the matter is this. I read this years ago. I used to date a girl. I thought the world of her. We had a lot of fun dating, but she was a strident feminist. And she believed the only difference between men and women were the accessories that hung off of them. Literally believed that. And she'd tell you that. Well, she went to the gym. She had these little appointments. She didn't want to tell me where she was going. For about 2 or 3 months, she went to the gym every day and worked out. And she was going to impress me. I wasn't going to no gym. She was going to impress me. She wanted me to go to the gym with her. Okay, to date 1, we both went to the gym. She outperformed me. On day 2, I outperformed her. It blew her mind. How can you do that? I've been training for 2 months. Every day. You come here the second day and you're lifting more than me and doing more than me. I wasn't about to tell her. I just laughed. Oh, I don't know. Well, I did know. I wasn't going to say it because she would have got furious. what I had read and understood already back then, which was over 20 years ago. We're talking, oh my God, it was 30 years ago at least, maybe longer. We're talking, early 90s. It's been a while. What I already knew at that time was that male muscle has 4 times the power of female muscle on a pound for pound basis. And also, men develop muscle like 4 times faster. But if you think that's something to brag about, animals have pound for pound 4 times more power and develop muscles 4 times faster than men. So we got a disadvantage in the animal kingdom. But male, female, yeah, that's how a guy who can't perform or even get into male sports can go into female sports and be the superstar. That's why it's not fair to women, in my humble opinion. Now, I might get beat hard for saying that. That's just my humble opinion. It just don't seem to be fair to women to have that kind of competition. But ladies, this is a lesson to you. And I heard, what's her name, Appalachian Homestead Pater, whatever her name is. She was talking about this actually too in a different way. She wasn't talking about this. She was talking about what happened in Georgia at the university there. How that men could overpower women too easily. This woman, she was a great jogger and all that, and how fast she got overpowered. Ladies, you need to have some means of self-defense with you more than a black belt in karate, an equalizer. There's that old saying that God made man and some cult made man equal. Or if you ever heard that. Which now you might have to take that back because I think Colt only sells the government now, but at least for a while that was their policy. But just consider that it also makes women equal. So when it comes to marches and the battlefield, yeah, women are good shots, but the marching was tough on them. And scientists finally answer an age-old question: are men and women's brains different? And the answer is yes. Men excel at some things, and women excel at others. According to this study, men are better drivers. I know some women take exception to that. Funnier, but more impulsive. Yes, some impulsive women. Women are better at reading and writing, good at long-term memory, and better at learning languages. But the language skills, yeah, women do excel. Some of us guys got a gift of gab. Don't make me a woman. I'd make an ugly woman. I wouldn't even try it. Anywho. And here we are. This does come down to that lady. Victims of open borders. Yeah. This guy had been caught and released. I'm not even going to state it up front. This article. Oh, wait a minute. I missed it. Oh, yeah. This article here talks about what Great Britain's learning is putting them on the front lines in battle. It's not working. Where was it? Oh, here we are. I thought I had this article next. Look at this. I'm going to come down here and find what they claim here. There's a certain statement here I want to take exception with. Now, this is in Breitbart. No, it's Daily Caller. I thought I had a Breitbart article. I saw it's a Breitbart article back here. Maybe this is the one I wanted. Ah, yeah, this is it. It says, the latest woman to fall victim because of our open borders to the federal government's inability to enforce immigration law. Enforce law. It's not inability. Mr. Breitbart, this is where I tell you, well, Mr. Breitbart passed away, unfortunately, in strange circumstances, it seems. Maybe, according to some, allegedly. But this says it's because the federal government's inability to enforce immigration law. It's not an inability. It's an unwillingness. It's not anything to do with inability. It's an unwillingness because they want that border wide open. That's why they want to resist Texas for trying to close the border. Look what Texas is able to do. Yeah, the federal government could do that far easier. Now that Texas is still in the process of selling off half the border, it'd be a lot easier for the United States to pick up the slack and take the other half. Yikes. No, they didn't want to do that. Look, guys, a lot of stuff coming across, you really need to, you really need to consider forming groups, or mutual assurance groups, mutual survival groups, tribes. That's why this is why WWIII, who I did to be the head of our tribe formation group, went in out of her pocket and developed this website. She spent a lot of money on it. And as far as I can tell, you guys aren't really taking full advantage of it. Now, I'll say this, look, you need groups because everybody's got to sleep sometime. Everybody runs a risk of breaking a leg or something happened to you. You need to go look at the video on survival living. He put out a video earlier today. He really goes in great detail. Go check that out, guys. Shout out to Survival Living. Go check him out. He laid it on the line, bare, how he said it. Preppers in the rural area will not survive, and preppers in the city will not survive. And he made a lot of really good, hard-hitting points that won't rest well with a lot of people, but he was exactly right. But if you do form the mutual assurance groups, vet your co-members. If you're joining a group, vet the people that you're joining into. If you're going someplace, vet whoever's the property owner, but they need to vet you too. It's a lot like getting married, especially if you own the property and people are coming in. You better really be careful and vet them well. Yeah, I had a bad surprise in a group I was forming here, an individual. Wished I'd vetted him better. Anyway, guys, here's the earthquakes. Before we go on earthquakes, let's stop the share for a minute and talk for a second. Let's talk about Iran. I'm going to come back through the chat in a little bit, but we'll before I do that, we'll look at earthquakes and we'll look at space weather, then I'll go through the chat room. Then we'll go on to the windy part. So, the United States has had a policy, and Israel's had a long-standing policy. We will not allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. No way they'll never be allowed to get a nuclear weapon. Well, what are you going to do? Israel can't hit them without refueling. And Israel don't have the refueling tankers. Israel bought refueling tankers in the United States, but we held them back because the administration was afraid that Israel would use them. I guess they bought them under the T-man administration, but the B-man withheld the tankers from Israel. I'm not taking sides whether it's right or wrong, but the whole point is this. Iran has had a lot of time to bury their stuff really deep, and Nate's right on this, of Canadian Prepper. Iran has miles and miles and miles and miles and miles of tunnels deep underground in mountainous terrain that's so deep that the nukes aren't going to get them. It's kind of like the subway in Moscow. It's 400 feet deep. They built it 400 feet deep with blast doors. I've been in that subway system. I spent a week running around in that subway system. Beautiful subway stations, by the way. But yeah, they got all kind of bunkers off the lines from that subway, not to apparently take care of the population of Moscow, allegedly. And they've actually done a drill and exercise, and the people going down there. They did that just before they went into Ukraine. So, and Russia's got a huge 400 square mile complex also, and several other places. So Russia is far more prepared in that respect. A lot of their stuff is EMP hardened, unlike a lot of our stuff, to a very high degree. But so you can figure the same for Iran. Iran's got these deep facilities, and they moved a lot of their nuclear. If they make nuclear weapons, they're going there. If they got nuclear weapons, they're going there. A lot of their missiles are there, airplanes. A lot of their military systems are in these deep places. Even if you went over and bombed them, what effect are you going to have? What is going to happen with that? I don't expect much. I don't expect much at all. So I would say it might be an exercise in futility at this point. If they were going to do that, they should have done it earlier if that's what they had intended to do. Or will they go after the Ayatollahs, the theocracy? Well, those guys are going, if they know they're coming, they're going to go down in those bunkers. How are you going to get them? How are you going to do it? You know, there was back when the Obama administration was sponsoring all these color revolutions throughout the Mideast that overthrew the governments of a lot of Mideastern nations, usually with governments that were more aligned with the Muslim Brotherhood for some strange reason. When the color revolution started in Iran, the United States did not support that one. They supported these other ones, but not that one. They even supported one in Egypt, but that one failed. We were supposedly allied with the Egyptian government. We supported the color revolution there, but it failed. So the government in Egypt, yeah, they're not exactly happy about that. Now, but in Iran, when the people was trying to, at that point, it started getting together to overthrow the theocracy, well, they got no support. I just showed you 3/4 of the people of Iran do not want the theocracy that's over them. Now, if we attack Iran, you know, when you're under attack, you suddenly say, however that's happening, you see these people as your enemy. I don't think we can have any effect on Iran, to be honest. Maybe some, but are we really going to take out those facilities? Now, we got some deep bunkers, but we don't even know where the bunkers are. When you start tunneling underground, how do you know when they're that deep? How do you know where they're at? We're trying to develop assets that can do ground penetration, but that deep in solid rock, can you really do it? And if you could do it, do they have false tunnels and decoy tunnels underground? You might have seen that guy on Canadian paper talking about the tunneling technology and tunnel warfare. He made a lot of good points. And he pointed out that a lot of tunnels would be decoys. So how do you know you're hitting the right ones if you can penetrate to that level? I've always felt if we had enough time, if we didn't poke around, that given enough time, the theocracy would fall because the people don't want it. Given enough time, that theocracy would fall. But by attacking, we might reinforce it. We need to find some other angle to this, probably. Do you want to alienate 3/4 of the Iranian population? I don't know. Killer robots would be fried, you knew. Unless they're also hiding deep in bunkers. It's one thing that, yeah, they'd be fried by the Super EMP. They're very electronic, comm system oriented. So you could build hardened ones, but they would be massive and it would be hard for them to fly, maybe ground crawlers. I don't know. So, yeah, you can bet Iran probably has some deep bunkers. So, something to think about. Maybe at one time it might have made sense to hit them. But here's the other flip side to it. You got to go back to what I've been saying on this channel since the inception. When that report came out from the National Electric Reliability Corporation, NERC, that said if you take out a certain 9 critical substations in the United States, the entire power grid would fail. And a guy runs to the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, says, "Hey, look, good news." And his reply was, we've got sleeper cells in America. We've already targeted 20 of them. That was years ago. But ain't got no more people come across the border since then. No. How'd they get in here already? But that's what they said. I'm not making this stuff up. So what you got to worry about, if we really went full tilt into attacking Iran, if they thought we were at risk of knocking out their regime that runs that place, the theocracy, do you think they would invoke those sleeper cells? It could bring this country to its knees. It could demolish the United States. Just a few people in sleeper cells. What could China do? That's not a pretty picture. That's why I said, guys, I've told you all along, the next world war, if we were to get into it full tilt, won't be all over there. It's going to be right here. And it's not going to be pretty. This is why you got to be prepared. But don't be scared. Be prepared. Get ready, but take it serious. Go watch that video on Survival Living. What he didn't say was that most farmers in this country don't even grow their own food. They don't have enough gardens. Remember that video I made years and years ago on Green Greg's, where I was driving around here in North Alabama and down in South Georgia, driving for miles and miles and saying that farm don't have a garden, that don't have a garden. I drive for miles before I find a garden. And then I ground truthed that from Google Earth photographs. Everybody's, they're in the backyards. I said, no, they're not. Look here. They don't have gardens. And most of the gardens, when you do find them, are gardens where people are, they're small plots. They're not enough to feed the people. And they're gardens from where they go to the store and buy everything to grow the garden. Those gardens have failed in a grid down situation. That's why I've always talked about having gardens where you can sustain it on your own after the stores go poof. So I need to check out my links to Tree Leaf Market, to Eden Brothers. You should have got worms back when I was selling. I'm about to shut it down. So, in fact, I am shutting down my worm sales because I'm moving. And also, Biden has created a new regulation that says that if anybody works for you, even if it's part-time, and they fit all the previous categories for a temporary worker, if their primary income is working for you, you got to treat them as full-time workers. You got to take out deductions. So you got to hire accountants and this and that and the other. To me, it's like, no, I just shut down business. I can't afford all that. It means business over. Folks lose their jobs. That's why that translates. Thank you, Biden. So the worm farm is shut down. That's it. I got a pound I'm delivering tomorrow. That's it. It's over. Get worms wherever you can. I'll probably set up an arrangement with someone else. I got a good friend that's got a worm farm. Maybe I'll do some kind of affiliate marketing with them or some kind of deal. I got to talk to her so we can work out. But you can compost. You can still compost. Worms will give you a big advantage, but you can still compost. For those of you that bought worms already, congratulations. What I tell you guys, one of these days the music's going to stop and you got to sit down in a chair and what you got's all you got. Well, the administration's making it more and more harder to get stuff. And supply chains are being disrupted. The Panama Canal is in a drought. Very little stuff's going through there. And look what's happening with the Red Sea. Yeah, global trade is beginning to hit a snare. And it takes a few months for it to hit our store shelves, guys. Get what you can while the getting's good. We don't know how long the getting's going to be good. Get it while the getting's good. I'm going to show a couple more things, and then we'll go through the chat room here. But, we're in a serious predicament, guys. Let's go back and do share screen again. Share screen. Bada bing. Earthquakes. Oh, look at the left coast there in West Wokistan. A lot of stuff going on out there, up in Alaska. Oh, look at that. That's over around close to Krakatoa. I can't pronounce it. It's in Indonesia. Yeah, guys. So let's do some scrolling in here. Now, those aren't on the San Andreas. That's close. This is all in Northern California, a lot of these. The Holy California. Alder Springs. We've seen earthquakes there before, low ones. 2.8. And Canyon Dam, California. Let's hope it don't break a dam. Of course, the Puerto Ricans, all these earthquakes just because Puerto Ricans love to dance so hard. God bless them. Got to give the Puerto Ricans credit for character. All right. These aren't too big, but this one takes my interest right here. Let's see how close that actually is to Krakatoa. Okay, Krakatoa is right here. It's not far from it. Anak Krakatoa, son of Krakatoa, is just right here, right between these islands. A little bit to the west, and right in this area right here. Wow. All right, enough of that. Space weather. Y'all ask about this sunspot. Well, look at this, guys. Look at it growing. Growing. That thing is getting bigger. We are still close enough to be in a line for it. If it could throw out a major sunspot, guys. Not a major sunspot. It is a major sunspot. It could throw out a major coronal mass ejection from a big flare. This one could do damage. Is it going to keep growing as it goes around? What happens? Will it come back around again, or will it peter out on the other side of the sun? Let's hope it's going to throw out some biggies that'll be on the other side and not on this side. It's 3590. Sunspot 3590. See it right there. 3590. It's humongous. Yeah, we had some radio blackouts in the western part of the United States and some of those other, that X 6.3 created some radio blackouts, which is to be expected. And the Aurora. Oh, Fort Greely. If I was at Fort Greely, we'd be seeing some pretty auroras over there in Delta Junction area of Alaska. Arnold, can you see anything in your neighborhood? Is Arnold in the area? Yes. Alberta is heading into spring with fire bans already in place. Wow. Lack of snowpack. We are 30 degrees shy of the average, or 30 something shy of the average snow accumulation. 30 what? You got an asterisk there. Not sure what the asterisk is. Centimeters? I'll look at asteroids. Today is the 26th of February. So you got to worry about anything from this point down. And there's nothing that's coming between the Earth and the Moon yet that we know of. See, you always find that stuff when it's real close to you. Notice most of these have got a 24 designator in the front because they were just discovered. Especially these that the date's already passed for. These up ahead, you see the older ones. So there's always these little ones that we didn't see that come by and we just discover them. The more we discover, the better. And the balloon data shows that the cosmic rays are still going down because the sun's active. Always happens when the sun's active. All right, before we go into windy, I'll say that the news section of this video is over. We will cover weather in a little bit. There is a big weather warning. I'll mention this before we go into going around the world looking at weather. We've got two jet streams that are going to almost collide in this region over the United States. We're going to get real close. So come Wednesday, you can expect a lot of storms. There's going to be a lot of snow dumped here in the northwest. It is going to get really warm, much unseasonably warm down here. We got a lot of heat coming in down here. We got a lot of moisture and cold. We got a real bitter cold front about to come down from up here, and they're going to basically collide over this region. And you can expect a lot of precipitation and storms. It could get interesting. We don't know. And apparently it's going to do that all over again next week. So before we go into any more detail there, I'll declare the news section of this video over. I'm going to look at the chat room, and then we're going to go back into that. It's already late. It's 4 a.m. my time. Snowing here now. Okay, so you can't see any aurora for the clouds. Okay. It's Arnold Schmidt, our buddy from Alberta. Weapons testing grounds just like Iraq. Get them, Greg. Trinit's mod's name would show up. Oh, we got mods coming up from another channel. What's this Trinit stuff about, guys? Oh, Trinit. You have mods? I have more money than the weirdios that work at YouTube. Oh, Rodney's eating lunch or something. I saw another news piece that those Sea Viper missiles that the UK are using cost £1 million each. I wouldn't doubt it. So how many of them can you buy? Under mountains in Iran they hide. Yes, that's true. So throw some German shepherds in Iran. We got to get them there, and you got to keep them fed and watered and get them back. Uh-oh. New Days is prescribing Alka-Seltzers, it looks like. Mark my words, we are giving away our weapon. Oh yeah, I already read that. The outage was a warning. That's what I think. It was a warning. Just kind of showing, hey, look what we can do. See that, or a dry run test, or maybe a little bit of both. John Baxter, God healed me from the rash I had, what I thought was bubonic spots. Scarred your skin. Wow. I had quite a miraculous healing myself once upon a time. Earthmaster talking about large sunspot. Yeah, we just covered that. Well, yeah, sunspot could put it all down. Problem is, then you got to worry about spent fuel rod pools at all the nuclear power plants. So still plenty to worry about. Yes, the world's best chip factory is in Taiwan. So that's another risk. Apparently, NVIDIA and a lot of these companies with AI chips and things are being built in Taiwan. Taiwan builds the chips, the finest structure down at the micron size. I think down to 2 microns with the chips they're producing. And China's got down to 3. Peter Zion said China couldn't go below 5 microns or something like that. But they've already got down to 3. So China's chasing after it. But believe it or not, what seems to be propping our stock market up right now is people investing in those chip companies. If Taiwan gets hit, our stock market is going to be, mighty peculiar place. Yeah, they're predicting economic disaster for the United States if Taiwan gets hit. So why do we get so reliant on having all our stuff in a place that somebody else wants to take over? I don't know. Snowflakes. Free Tibet. There you go, Nunu. All right. Tried it. You're daring Arnold? What? What are y'all fussing over? Where is NK getting the parts to make those weapons? Oh, they're probably getting some of them from Russia. Now they make a lot of stuff in North Korea though. They weapon wise, I mean that's all. The whole country is like a Spartan country, like Spartacus. Everything goes into the military. Who's an FBI? You're an FBI informant, Trident. Fentanyl A. Oh yeah. What's the other one? Unknown vector. Atrazine. I don't know that one. Yeah, bisphenol A is one. They got another one too. They got one chemical for softening plastics, and another one for hardening plastics, and they're both gender bender chemicals. It's not the only chemicals they could use. That's the ones they selected. Apparently, around the year 1900, some people, there's all kind of C theories about that. Letter C. We're talking about conspiracies. I don't know. Do a sinus rinse after going to Walmart. Oh Lord. Yeah, grow your own food. Highly encourage that. Hey Tim, how you doing? Tim Casper. Hello to you. Ruh-roh. Oh Lord, Robert. Suppository to access the internet. I hope not. Whoa, what happened? Oh, shoot. Get me off the page. Breaks down, it goes back to tribalism. Got 152 in the chat room. That's pretty good. Lost 15 pounds the last 2 months. Well, good for you, Trident. I've just lost 7.5 pounds in the last 2 weeks. I used to lose 10 pounds in a week. My younger Max husband made an ugly woman, oh Lord. Maybe he had too much plastic in his brain. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Look at you now, though. Who, me? Indians and Pakistanis are free in Britain in droves. What's that all about, John? John Baxter, tell me more. Alex is right. You talking about Jones? True story, Ronnie. Let's see. Pay EMT, FF99. Learn to be your first responder. There you go. Amen. Hey, Jeremiah, how you doing? Why is that on the house? Did I miss her? Too many people seem to suffer from prepper fantasy. Yeah, a lot of people think they're preppers. Well, hey, if all you can do is buy an extra can of beans, get an extra can of beans, guys. But, you know, I'll give you a little bit of an edge, but there's a whole lot y'all need to be thinking about. A whole lot. Scooby Snacks had an aquarium. I personally think Iran has at least one. Heck, Russia could have easily given. Yeah. Well, I heard from sources decades ago. We're talking back in the late 80s. No, well, early 90s when the wall fell. When the Berlin Wall fell and then Russia broke up. That I heard Iran got 2 full ICBMs with warheads from Kazakhstan. And recently I heard that number was actually 4. I heard a confirmation that I heard it was 4. I can't substantiate that, but I got it, both data points from very good sources. And who knows what else has been traded on the black market? Who's got what? You could have key groups that's got some of this stuff. I mean, stuff usually sells like that to the highest bidder. Hey, Scooby Snacks, good to see you in the house. Rodney, you got one of your neighbors in the house. Yes, water is the most important prep. That's why before I went into the series where I talked about wild edibles and wild medicinals, back when I was covering that stuff, I got quite a bit of material on it. Y'all need to look at Green Greg's channel for that stuff. The first thing I did was talk about many means to purify and sanitize water, and that's 2 different things. A lot of your water filters purify, but they don't sanitize the viruses. Kentucky Fried Robots, oh Lord. Hey, what do space aliens taste like? Bet they taste like frog legs. Parachuted into Mexico. Who? Matt. Yeah, all sorts of them here already, unfortunately. New. Oh, that's good. Confucius say, don't kick hornets' nests naked in the woods. I think that's what we're doing. John Baxter says, I think David Devine was right when he said the ice age is coming. All countries will fight over Africa because that'll be the new food basket of the world. Oh, that's why China's probably making huge inroads over there. And we're not paying attention to it. Thank you, Gabby. Well, late's better than never. Yeah, the Ruskies might move south if that happens. Well, the meridional overflowing current, the Atlantic meridional overflowing current, AMOC, it shuts down. Europe is going to be frosty, and Moscow much more so. Buffering? Oh no. Yeah, I'll be going back to Arizona, but I gotta pack some stuff up here, and I got a lot of paperwork to go through still. I got tons of it I gotta get through, figure out what to do with different things, and put this place up for sale. And I gotta sell it quick because I can't afford to be here. This is killing me financially. So much so that I may just stop doing videos, guys. It takes me hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to do one video. I spent a good part of the day pulling this news together. I should have been working on other stuff, quite frankly. I'm losing a lot of money being here, so I need to refocus. I may shut down and do very few videos. I really want to do the one on this whole thing about those space weapons not being what they say they are. They're not just space weapons, if they have them, if anybody's got them. That's been mischaracterized. But it tastes like chicken. Oh, Gabby, you had some? How do you remove nuclear fallout from rainwater? Well, filter it. Well, it's isotopes of heavy metals. All that stuff might filter out. You might distill, because heavier stuff goes to the bottom when you're distilling. Unless you're on with that channel that thinks the sun crust up and then goes into a micronova. They will tell you that heavier elements float on the top of hot systems. No, never happens. That defies everything in grammar school physics. I don't know how they come up with that, but anyway. Atlantic blob. Talking about military grade weapons that Korea refits for airsoft and sells back to us to play with in the woods. What? Can I pet that dog? That's a good name. How high is the water, mama? Uh-oh, is that a song? Filter and sanitize water. Thank you for sharing that, New Days. Everybody, if you've not watched that video, watch it. Pay attention. That's the most important thing. If you don't take anything else away from my channel, watch that. Secondly, watch the nuclear survival videos I put in there. I got a video about surviving EMPs. Watch that. It also talks about tactics. And you really need to know a little bit about tactics. But it's not enough to watch. You need to go out and start practicing some stuff. Hey, we got a super chat tonight. Salute and thank you. A few coins for your video production fund. Thank you. That's probably the only thing I can get out of this video tonight for all my hours of work. I work for pennies an hour. But thank you, Gabby. Salute to Gabby. Thank you. Winter String Greg, we appreciate everything you do. Keep us engaged and informed. So even if you must refocus on your duties, accept this month. Yeah, I may say what's tough is I get people that tell me they come to my channel for news. I've got people, including some high-level preppers, that have told me specifically that they get all their news. They just come to my channel. They don't go anywhere else. So it makes it kind of, I've done a number of videos just because of that when I really should have felt like I needed to be doing something else. Because I know a lot of you guys relied upon me. But I'm kind of in a real tight right now. Gabby, that helps. Salute to Gabby. Thank you. I'm going to go probably sometime this week. Sometime this week, I hope to file for Social Security and maybe file for unemployment. I thought I might have that job lined up in Ames, but they told me they wanted somebody that had a lot more expertise in like thousands of amps systems and many thousands of volts systems. And so I wasn't exactly who I was looking for that position, but then they said, but we like this guy's resume, these other things. Yeah, this is good over here. If we might have something for him in the future because we worked, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath for that stuff. In the meantime, I got to survive, and I'm in a tight. I got to get out of here. I can't afford to be here. If Greg doesn't cover it, it's not important. Hey, thank you, Show Maiden, for that vote of confidence there. The same carbon that's used in fish tank filters can Deradiate water. Yeah, filter stuff, guys. That activated carbon is good. Get activated charcoal. You can buy bags of it. But my mini charcoal itself is good. You know, and I did, you know, I had a campfire burning when I did that video. You might have heard one of my neighbors had some automatic nug activity going on in the background. You can hear it in that video too. Oh, check your PayPal. Okay, let's do that. Michelle's been a strong supporter. Yeah, if you go to Ring Greg's website, and you go to the Buy Worm section, the donate button, I'm going to leave that active. So let's go check that out. Oh, I did get a donation. $10, Michelle Young. Salute, Michelle Young. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. About so we won't see any of that tonight. All right, cool. Thank y'all. Thank you, Gabby and Michelle Young. Larry Smith. All should have a layer of active carbon in their water purifier. Amen. If I get time, I'm going to make some 5-gallon bucket water purifier. I'll make my own homemade 5-gallon bucket water purifier. I'll do a video on it. I don't have time to mess with it right now, but I'll probably do that sometime once I get settled down in Arizona. That'd be a good project. Make a real good video. Basically, what I was doing for the little bottles, plastic bottles, and showing. Carol! Salute you, Carol. Thank you. I learned a lot from you. Stay safe. Thank you so much, Carol. Appreciate that. Active carbon is also used when you're poisoned. Yeah, that carbon's good stuff, Larry. Absolutely right. Yeah, that's Michelle's right. She's showing that. That's the link you can use. All righty. Folks, I really appreciate that. So I'll check it again after we look through the weather. It is already 4:19, and I got to get up in the morning. I got to ship a pound of worms. So this morning already, I got to get up in a little bit. I might have to get up before I go to bed. It's kind of rough when you have to get up before you go to bed. I meet myself. I'll be heading to bed and meet myself coming out. I have to do that sometimes. Takes a lot of time to put this stuff together. I get tons of people. Are you going live tonight? And somebody's like, I don't know if I'm put all together. Just because I go live don't mean I didn't spend a good part of the day getting ready to go live. Sometimes I just can't get it all together early enough. And if you think, and I mean, it'd be past this time. So, yeah. I advise everybody, you know, I need to go find some. I had a bunch of links for that, getting activated charcoal. I've got to research and re-research and see what's the latest. You can search it on the internet. Look for activated industrial scale and activated carbon. You know, you can search it on the internet and you get you a big bag of that stuff. It'll last you a long time. That's what I think everybody ought to do that if you can. If you can't, you can always burn wood and make charcoal. Beats nothing. That's what I was showing in that. You can buy activated charcoal capsules, yeah, but you want a fair bit for water purification. But if you don't have it and you're out in the woods and all you can find some plastic bottles, now it takes a long time with small bottles to filter that because you just don't have that much depth of the stuff to filter through. And you got to pass it through a bunch of times to get it clear. But then you got it, once you get it purified, which is taking all the sediments, contaminants out, you need to sanitize it. There are water filters that will take out bacteria, but they do not, there's none that take out viruses. None of them. I've had people arguing on that. No. For that, you need iodine, Clorox, or boil it, or UV light. But what I did tell you was, if you use glass stops UV. This is one place where a plastic bottle could be useful. Plastics, I don't care too much for them, but if you're just between living and dying, if you take a small plastic bottle, not a big one, I don't want to use those, got all those little perforations out. Use one that's straight. And you got less exposure plastic, and probably because it's not crinkling, less plastic material getting inside the bottle. I'd rinse it out before I used it to get a lot of the stuff that's already in there out. But if you put that on your back and walk around, and you're out in the woods or out in the field walking around and the sunlight shining through it, the UV should take care of it after a couple hours. Show maiden is for filtering. It's the best way to filter your waters with the charcoal, and it takes out a lot of your bad metals and take out a lot of bugs too, believe it or not. But I would say pure hydrogen peroxide, maybe somewhat. Sterifab, well, you want something you can get. Now, the bad thing is, in grid down, you may not be getting a lot of that stuff. So I'd buy you a bunch of iodine water purification tablets. Clorox only lasts so long. It's got a short shelf life. Hey, Trident, thank you. Salute to Trident. Thank you for super chat, Trident. We're not going to spend much time on the weather. It's already really late here. I'm approaching 5 in the morning here if I'm not careful. It takes me about an hour to go to bed after I end the video, because I still got to post some things and just get ready for bed. I got a lot of stuff to do. Yikes. So I might have to skip going through weather. It's already really late here. Coffee on me. Hey, there we go. Thank you. Appreciate it. Tried it. Anyway, the boiling water is always good. You can boil water in a plastic bottle. If you don't have anything else, I wouldn't want to cook stuff in plastic. You're gonna get some chemicals with it. But if it's between life or death, the bad stuff in plastics takes a while to do you damage. It will, but it takes a while. So, but lack of water can wipe you out very fast. So if you absolutely had to boil water in a plastic bottle, it beats nothing. But boiling water is one of the best ways to purify it, sanitize it, excuse me. I wished I was as perky as you after no sleep. It's because I don't take my sleep lying down. I take it in a cup. That can only last you so long. Hey, Marcia! Salute to you. Thank you for the super chat, Marcia. Thank you very much. You're making my night after all. All righty, folks. I was beginning to think we won't have any activity in that regard, but thank you guys. Appreciate it. Building smokeless fire. That's a skill. Also, you might want to make fire close to a tree where the smoke will get diffused to the branches. If you're out camping and moving around, you really don't want to be seen. The Native Americans used to build tiny little fires and laugh at white guys for building huge fires. Oh, yeah, we can see you. We know where you're at. You need to study stealth camping, stealth maneuvering. If you can be seen, you can be taken out in seconds by somebody with a bang smoke pole. Somebody with a nug. Morning, Terry Petty. How you doing? All right. You know what? It's really late here. I want to do just a quick look at the weather here. We're not going to go around like we normally do. Greg, do you think about memberships, mate? Yeah, I have, but I got to set up little emojis and do this and do that. And I started to go down that road once and I just got too complicated. I'm so limited on time. Maybe when I get in Arizona and get settled down, that takes time to set all that up. Time is something I don't have much of in my life. We'll look at that though down the road. All righty, guys. Like I said, we got a jet stream coming up through here, and one's going to be coming down through here. This is going to be bringing warm air, and we got this stuff coming out of the Gulf, so there's going to be lots of moisture and warm air coming up from the south and west, and the northwest is bringing down all this cold stuff, and they're going to collide right around here come Wednesday. It could be very interesting, so be on the alert for bad weather. That's all I got to say about that. I'm not going to go looking at everything, guys. It's just too much, and we're too late. Right now, things aren't looking too bad. You got some snow up in West Bokostan, over in the Montana, the Bitterroot Mountains, Idaho, Colorado. Almorosa is up to 32, not too bad. Nothing too out of the ordinary temperature-wise right now. A little bit warm down here. We got air coming out of the Gulf. Got some chilly stuff coming out of the Gulf of Alaska, hitting in West Wokistan, northwest Wokistan. -11 in Fairbanks. Okay. Got some negative temperatures there. Anchorage is at 8 for our friends in Alaska. We got some folks down here. WWIII's 82. It's always 80 to 82 in WWIII. That's one of the most temperature stable places I've ever seen. But rain up in there. Just, I guess that's just north of you, Scooby Snacks and Rodney. They're both from Queensland area, but Queensland is huge. 84 down here. Over in 62. Canberra 66. Perth is 80. You got to remember, guys, it's still summertime down here, but not for long. Alice Springs 98. Got to be 100 somewhere. Yeah, Warburton 109. That's a hot place there. I'll go here real quick and look at England. Show maidens in England. Hull's 44. London's 43. I mean, it's just almost the same always up here. Oslo is 34. We got somebody from Norway in the house now. I think we did. 10.5 milliliters. That's a volume. I expect a linear measurement for depth. Larry Smith research on wind patterns if you live near a nuclear reactor. Oh, yeah. Or target area. You're right there, Larry. 15 degrees C in western Alberta. All right, let's go back over there. Boing. All right, this in the teens in Maine, up where New Days is at. Alberta. Oh, look there, 3 in Hinton. -1, this is Fahrenheit in Grand Prairie. Yeah, you said you got snow. I see you got a lot of snow up in Alberta. British Columbia, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. I don't know how far north in Saskatchewan Nate lives. I assume he's probably down here, but all right, guys. Hudson Bay, you got a Hudson Bay in Saskatchewan? There's your Hudson Bay. I know Saskatchewan had a Hudson Bay. Probably the Hudson Bay company started. Anyway, stop the share. Showbay, it's better to fit and learn for the apocalypse, to be fit and lean for the apocalypse, or fat so you don't waste away so fast. Maybe a little bit in the middle. You still need to have fitness so you can maneuver and do things. But to be skinny as a rail might be a problem. A little having a little extra calories on your bones might help, but if you plan to stay in one place, you might be okay. Hey, Steffords, how you doing? Steffords gave me a nice chat in the last session on the PayPal. Salute to her. Thank you. Yes, I think I caught that afterwards. And I heard that when I would hit the button and killed it after the fact, because I needed to run outside and watch the chat room like I do sometimes, that we got a good super chat from Tucker. Anyway, alrighty. So Samuel, let's see here. I'm a zombie for sure. All right, everybody, we're going to end right now because I got to go. Nathan, brother, is in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Okay, Saskatoon. We'll have to look at Saskatoon in the near future. Zombie food. Oh, yeah, don't be zombie food. Don't be the long pork. That's one of the things I always tell you guys. So, guys, just remember there's good people in any place of the world, any of every race, color, creed, in every town, Hampshire, or whatever. Shire. Hampshire will be a place. But there's, the sociopaths and psychopaths are a small fraction. Unfortunately, they tend to percolate up in companies and governments toward the top. That's what we got to watch out for. It's everybody's enemy. All right, so folks, just keep those things in mind. But get ready, be prepared, take it serious now. We're in very risky times. Hey, Stan, good to see you. Thank you. Carol, appreciate that. Fatty liver is called a silent killer. Yeah, watch that. You don't want a fatty liver. Alrighty, folks. Thank you, super chatters. Oh yeah, one thing. I've heard that Granny Lana's in the hospital. So when you go to bed tonight, say a prayer for Granny. Dennis Smith, Granny's granddaughter, Katie, but say a prayer for Granny because I hear she's in a hospital. Say a prayer for Granny tonight. You know, she's a regular on our channel. She's not here tonight. So again, thank you, super chatters. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Remember to hit the thumbs up on the way out. Share my videos because this platform don't send my stuff out too much. So help me out. Share my videos far and wide if you can. And go down in the chat room and talk with each other. You can also go to Discord. Anyway, guys, thank you, everybody, for watching. Once again, to one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you're at. And with that, I'm going to say,